Welcome to this edition of Town by Town, where we tour the Eastern Shore of Virginia, discovering history, interesting stories, and a whole lot more. I'm Virginia Realtor Linda Bayless Spence, and this week we're continuing our visit to the town of Exmore, Virginia. Now, Exmore is home to 3 hotels, but the first hotel, which was built in the 1800s, was called Shields Hotel, and it was located near the train depot. It was first a livery, which is a place that would house horses, and it had a bar, but eventually it was built onto. It was 3 stories tall. The hotel was torn down in the late 1950s. Now, the second hotel was called the Central Hotel, and it was located on the Willis Wharf Road. It was eventually renamed the Exmore Hotel, and in the 1950s, that one was cut in half and turned into 2 houses that still stand on Occohannock Road to this day. When you visit Exmore, you'll find many antique and gift stores, but the first store was built in 1910. It was called Benjamin's Department Store, located on the corner of Main Street and Willis Wharf Road, and it's currently listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It had 3 floors, sold men and women's clothing on the first and second floor, but the third floor was for appliances. And there was actually a freight elevator to get those appliances up and down. In 1975, the building was rented to the Peebles department store chain. And not to date myself, but I remember going shopping there with my mom when I was a little girl, from like my Easter clothes and school clothes. As I told you last week, Exmore was the happening place on the shore thanks to the railroad, but not only did it offer the opportunity to ship produce, in 1938, Delaney Food Incorporated opened, and it provided a lot of jobs to the community. And actually, it grew into one of the largest frozen food plants on the entire East Coast. On top of that, there were 4 drink bottling companies. There was Big Nickel Drinks, Knee-High, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola. There's a picture of the Coca-Cola plant, and you can still see it for yourself. It's on Main Street. By the time the 50s rocked and rolled around, there were big stores, 2 movie theaters, lots of eateries, and mom and pop shops. In fact, people came from all over just to shop in Exmore. It was definitely the hub of the shore. Now, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and I remember the Five and Dime store, Custis Record Shop, and one of those movie theaters I told you about was actually then turned into a skating rink and eventually became a restaurant and a nightclub. And I've been filled in on the good times at that Cameo Room, where there was good food, great music, and evidently a whole lot of shaking going on. Well, that's it for this edition of Town by Town. Special thanks to David Scanlon for the use of his pictures and for answering my 2,000 questions. Be sure to follow me as we continue our journey and uncover history and present-day treasures. Oh, one more thing. If Exmore sounds like a good place for you to live, then be sure to check out the house that I have listed in the town. You can find it in the link on the comments below. Have a great week.